Good afternoon, and let me thank all of you for joining us today for a very open and candid and transparent discussion about campus safety here at North Carolina A&T State University. Joining me today as part of our conversation is Chief of University Police, Chief Jermaine Cherry, who has been our chief for the past several years and has provided excellent leadership of our campus University Police. And so he and I will have a frank discussion with you. I'd like to make some opening comments initially. I mark through some key points of clarity, and then I think the bulk of our discussion and the healthy part of our discussion will be through the Q&A. And again, thank you for joining us. Today, we are pleased to have with us students, parents, faculty, staff, and possibly some of our alumni as well. I'd like to begin our discussion first by recognizing and supporting the family of our lost student, Deja Ray Reeves. Deja was an 18-year-old student who joined our campus this year as a freshman from Chicago. She was gunned down, unfortunately, just yesterday as she was enjoying a beautiful day just outside of the campus community with friends, listening to music and enjoying, again, just socializing in what she considered to be, among many of our students and others in this community, in a safe space. So like many of communities throughout our nation, gun violence and deaths will continue to experience in very significant ways. And certainly it was absolutely a senseless death with no reason whatsoever. And now her family, her friends, and our university community are literally left to cope with this aftermath to the best we can. And so Deja did not deserve this. She deserved to live. The person who pulled the trigger, killing Deja, and wounding another individual deserves to shoulder the full weight of this responsibility through our criminal justice system. So we pray certainly for Deja's family and all who knew her. And we ask that every Aggie do the same. Our support of and our kindness toward the A&T family at moments like these are special parts of what makes us Aggies. So I ask us all if we would pause for a moment of silence to remember her life and ask for guidance and support on our collective paths forward. So a moment of silent meditation would be appropriate. Thank you. Here in Greensboro, throughout our state and across the nation as a whole, all communities are dealing with lots of challenges as it relates to crime and senseless murders through gun violence. No different here in this community. And what I'd like to share with you are some of the things that we have consistently done and clarify some of the rumored false information that has been surfacing around our university and this community as a whole. And I'd like to begin first in clarifying some of the key points related to the unfortunate conversations related to 27-year-old Brandon James Bentley, who was arrested on our campus on March 26th after having been encountered by our campus security personnel at approximately 4 a.m. on Sunday morning, March 26th. We are very fortunate that our campus security, who had been raised to a heightened level of oversight of our campus over the last several months, beginning with the threats of bombings of historically Black colleges and universities around the nation as well. And Chief Cherry had created significant partnerships and collaborations with Greensboro Police, the Gifford County Sheriff, the ATF, as well as the FBI and the State Bureau of Investigations, the SBI as well. And those key partners have continued to be a significant part of our engagement as we seek to bring continued safety for our campus community. And again, Brandon Bentley was moving about our campus with his lights off at that time of the morning on a Sunday morning. And one of our security personnel recognized that this vehicle was moving about the campus with the lights off. After having discussions with the command post of our University Police, the security personnel led him to a very well-lit space where a number of our campus University Police took him and arrested him, fortunately without any incident, not knowing, of course, at the time that he had a host of arsenal of various weapons, guns, shotguns, handguns, knives, and etc. And fortunately for us, our campus personnel were able to arrest him, and through a variety of questioning of him and inspecting his vehicle, the campus police took him downtown and booked him and confiscated all of his weapons. Again, fortunately, all of this was done with absolutely no shots fired in any way, shape, or fashion at that point in time. Chief Cherry pulled into the discussions after having arrested and secured and documented all of the arsenal that were available in his vehicle, pulled into the Greensboro Police Department, the FBI, the ATF, as well as the SBI to assist us in the investigations. Now, it's important to recognize that we were not under any circumstances aware of his affiliations in any way, shape, or fashion, but we were determined to ensure that he was fully prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, given his presence on our campus with a variety of weapons as well. Now, as Chief Cherry created the case for his arrest in partnership with Greensboro Police Department and the district attorney, we also realized that we need to ensure that there was a significant level of evidence that we hoped would put Mr. Bentley away for some time. Now, after the initial encounter with Mr. Bentley, there was no ongoing threat to our campus. And per our process for issuing alerts, alerts are only issued when there is imminent danger to our campus community, to faculty, staff, or our students. And we found there was no imminent danger. So no alert was submitted at this point. However, we should recognize, however, that we have shared with the campus the basic facts, and we should have done that. We should have absolutely have done that. Chief Chair and I accept responsibility for not doing so, at least the day after the event when Mr. Bentley appeared in court for the first time. We, however, based on our conversations with the police department, with the SBI and the FBI, realized that there was an ongoing investigation and that we needed to make sure that we understood all aspects of affiliation with Mr. Bentley. Was he a member of any other hate groups? Was there any other facts that we should be aware of before we move forward with significant prosecution with Mr. Bentley? Mr. Bentley, now keep in mind that he had been permanently banned from our campus. And of course, we were significantly aware of who he was, and we ensured that we were on alert to keep him away from our campus as well. Now, while we did not make the announcement at that time, it was our intent to do so. Following his first day in court and the like, again, waiting for some guidance from the FBI and SBI. But again, we didn't do so until the story became available to the media. We began to realize that it was important for us to begin to surface, without exception, a message to our campus community and our broader community as well, which we did. Now, again, our alert system does not call for us to make such an announcement, and our policies don't include making such announcements under these circumstances. But what I'm asking is our General Counsel, Mr. Holloway, to work with our Chief of Police and representatives from our student groups, as well as our faculty and staff, to ensure that we, under similar such circumstances in the future, never pause to ensure that we communicate appropriately at the right instance in time matters of this nature. We understand the reaction from our campus, from our alumni and members of this community, that this individual, from your lens and most individuals' lens, could have posed a threat to not only our community, but our campus community as well. And we will ensure in the future that such communications are appropriately shared with all of our constituency. Now, we've heard from a broad array of parents and alumni and students from our community as well. But I assure you, based on all of our interactions with Mr. Bentley, he was deemed to have posed no threat to our campus once he was arrested. Keep in mind as well, Chief Cherry worked extensively with the district attorney as well as with the Greensboro Police Department to bring forward all of the critical evidence so that we could ensure that we could maximally prosecute him to the greatest extent of the law. The initial bail was set at $75,000, which concerned us. And as Chief Cherry added additional facts to the case, we brought forward 6 charges in particular. We've supported 6 felonies, 3 misdemeanors ranging from possession of a firearm on educational property to unlawful carrying of a concealed weapon. And in his court date on Monday the 27th, the district attorney joined us in encouraging the judge to raise the bail. It was incremented to $100,000 based upon the facts of the case. And unfortunately, we cannot see it raised any more than that. And unfortunately, Mr. Bentley and his family posted his bail shortly thereafter. Now, again, no evidence of danger to the campus, no imminent danger, so no communications were sent. We should have done so. We take responsibility for not having done so earlier and would ensure that in the future, under similar such circumstances, we will not allow such events to cause us not to keep our campus community highly informed about such matters on our campus. Thirdly, and during that same weekend, there was an incident that occurred on that campus where several shots were fired, 3 striking a parked vehicle on that campus. The university issued an alert on that evening. It was also a late evening event as well. Little traffic on our campus. Chief Police Cherry is still investigating this matter. No one has been brought to justice for that incident, but again, an alert was issued. And lastly, we were aware this past Thursday, a person called the campus police and indicated that there was an individual on our campus with an automatic weapon around our university's outside basketball courts. Our chief of police and his officers responded instantaneously to that call, ultimately quickly realizing that this was a rumor and there was no evidence of anyone on our campus with a weapon. This incident had nothing to do with Mr. Bentley, although some have aligned it with his arrest and that incident on our campus. It had nothing to do with Mr. Bentley's arrest the previous weekend on our campus by any measure. As it turned out, though, nonetheless, our partners at Greensboro Police Department came to the campus because they had been monitoring the false alert. And as a result of this, we were very pleased that our partners arrived on our campus to assist us. But again, this was a false alarm. We as a campus made a decision to issue a response to this false alarm by posting a notice to the campus that it was indeed a false alarm. We transmitted that false alarm notice through social media as well as through our campus email system as well to all of our faculty, staff, and our students as well. Now, unfortunately, these independent events, having had nothing to do with one another, have been merged into continuing discussions about the campus as well. So I want to clarify that neither of those events had anything to do with one another. Now, again, we normally send out alerts for only events where there's imminent danger. This false alarm, we discovered to be a false alarm, so there were no alerts sent. Now, finally, I want to say a few words about the campus safety in general. Our university is a very safe campus, and it continues to be extraordinarily safe as an environment for our students, our faculty, and our staff to socialize, to work, and to study and enjoy this campus community. I encourage you to visit our Jean Clary Act report that appears on our website. We are all, as universities, required to report for a common set of indicators of crime associated with our universities every year. And you'll find that this report, within the perimeters of our university, there are minimal crimes impacting our students outside of modest levels of assaults or drug sales or events and petty thefts, breaking and entering in one's cars. These tend to be student-on-student crimes. We have been very fortunate to keep off the perimeter of our campus any major crimes around the periphery of our university with our university police in partnership with the Greensboro Police Department, as well as the university's partnership with the Gifford County Sheriff's Department as well. Most of the incidents around the perimeter of the campus and beyond stem from regular arrests of speeding vehicles or suspicious vehicles in and around the university, periphery, or in the community as well. The University Police Department handles these very difficult matters very, very timely and significantly. These traffic stops typically end up leading to arrests for individuals who tend to have drugs beyond a certain quantity in their possession or weapons in their possession in close proximity to our university as well. It is important to note that I've instructed and worked very closely with Chief Cherry and his officers with the oversight of Mr. Robert Pompey, our Chief Business Officer, to ensure that we keep those elements of crime away from this campus community. Now, that means that they have to do their jobs. They have to engage in traffic stops and assessing circumstances where there are indications of suspicion. And in this instance, Mr. Bentley was arrested because he came around the periphery of our campus. He was picked up by our campus police and personnel, and he was arrested because we stopped him and through further inspection realized that he presented a danger potentially to our campus community. Now, again, when you take those independent cases, I want to make sure that you are clear on the independence of those incidents and why we may have sent alerts and why we may have not engaged in sending alerts across our campus. But we think it's critically important that you recognize that within our campus, where I have seen lots of discussions about the campus safety and lack of safety, we are amongst one of the safest universities within the UNC system and across the nation. The facts bear that out. I cannot stress that enough. The facts bear that out. What we deal with on an ongoing basis is what all of our communities are dealing with in all of our universities, public and private, here in North Carolina and across the nation as a whole, is the rising level of unrest within our communities, driven by social injustice concerns, driven by political differences across our nation as well. And it is in the intent of this university and to ensure that we're keeping those kinds of elements away from our students on this campus, as well as our faculty and our employees as well. We encourage you as well to help us in this collaborative effort to keep our campus safe. That includes our students and our faculty and our staff, as well as parents and members of this community and alums as well. You see something, report something. We encourage you to not ignore those instances where you believe something is going on. We've had a number of situations where friends of the university, our students and our employees have referred situations to our campus police, and they have responded immediately to those circumstances. And where there were instances that appeared to be circumstances that created concerns for the campus, we've issued alerts. When they have not caused concerns for issuing alerts, we've not done so. When it required arrests, arrests have been made to ensure that those individuals who appeared to create harm or concern or intended to create harm or danger were arrested and were prosecuted as well. Again, if you see something, report something. We also encourage you to sign up for our university's Aggie Alert system. It is a very robust system. When we sense that something needs to be communicated to our campus community and to our parents, we communicate that out through our Aggie Alert system. It impacts through emails, it impacts through social media, and through text messages as well. Most of our students are currently registered through Aggie Alert, and we encourage those of our students who are not registered to do so. We encourage parents. You are also able to sign up for our Aggie Alert system as well. To do so is shared with you in the slide that is currently available on the screen. And we encourage you, if you don't get the information, you have troubles doing so, that you reach out to our campus community as well. And I'll share additional information for you to be able to do so in a few moments. For any of you who see something and need to report something or need to contact our university's law enforcement, we encourage you to contact the University Police Department. Contact our Chief of Police, Jermaine Cherry, and his staff. The communications information and contact information are shared here as well. His office does not turn off the telephones, as someone has suggested they do. They answer all calls, and all calls are returned by the chief and members of his staff. Many of them are returned by Chief Cherry. And so those rumors suggesting that our campus university police are not responsive are simply rumors. I know for a fact because anytime I call the university police, they respond. Any members of my staff or any members of this community call the university police, the university police always responds. Parents, you may also contact our university's Division of Student Affairs. If you have questions about policies, you have questions about our system, our university's judicial system, or you want to engage more with the campus, you may contact our Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs, Dr. Melody Pierce, or our Assistant Vice Chancellor for Student Development, Dr. Don Murphy. Their contact information is also shared here on the screen. And all of this information will be made available and is currently available on our university's website. And we'll make sure that these slides are made available in a very easy to find location so that you could contact the university as well. Our alumni, you're also encouraged when you have questions as presidents of your respective chapters, or if you're contacted as an alum, or if you are a parent of one of our current students and you have concerns as well, you may also contact our Division of University Advancement through our Vice Chancellor for University Advancement, Ken Sigmund, and the Associate Vice Chancellor for Alumni Relations, Crystal Williams-Boyce. Their contact information is also available on the screen as well. So let me be clear again. I don't like the cliche that the campus safety is a top priority. It is represented in the evidence of our behavior. You look at the results of the campus safety on this campus, the responsiveness of our University Police Department to incidents that occur, the regular and routine heavy levels of patrols around our campus and within the campus parameters. Now, parents, your desire for intensity of patrols are consistent with those of our University Police Chief Cherry and mine. Now, what we try to manage is our students, your children, your sons and daughters, don't like the heavy-handedness of the presence of campus police. While I hear our students share that message through our student leadership and through our student forums, it is difficult to say to our students, I hear you on one hand, your safety is more important on the other. While we try to manage and balance the heavy-handedness of the presence of campus security personnel, we also are making it clear to our students that their safety is a priority. And while we want to make sure that we keep the interior of our campus safe for all of us, we also are making it very clear to those individuals out in the community who believe that they can come to this campus and commit crimes, breaking and entering our students' vehicles, or their residence halls, or selling drugs or assaulting our students, that they have to deal with our campus police, because we're not going to tolerate that kind of behavior on this campus. And again, that's evident in the presence of our campus police and our security personnel. And it's evident in the results of the reports that we have to file, like all other institutions of higher education, as part of the Clery Act, as part of the federal requirements for our university. You can see the evidence of the low crime rates of our university within this campus community. So I encourage you to go see those reports. I encourage you to be ever vigilant about signing up for Aggie alerts. I also encourage you to, if you see something, say something. And I encourage you, before something happens, to always be in contact with the university in those various offices that we share the contact information for as well. We also encourage you at all costs, don't become part of the rumor mill. Now, we have a responsibility for ensuring that we are regularly communicating the facts and addressing rumors about campus safety for this university. And so if there are things you hear and you know they don't make sense, don't continue to share the rumors. But if you need clarity, reach out so that we can clarify those facts. When you call my office, my staff is well briefed and they answer those calls, and they appropriately, if they can't appropriately provide the necessary responses to you, they will appropriately pass you to someone else on this campus who have additional facts to share with you. They never drop you. They never leave you without ensuring that we believe you're in a good place relative to the concerns that you may raise. So we want to make sure that One of the emails that we received was about a parent who suggested that the police office cuts its phones off and doesn't return telephone calls. That's just simply not true. That really is not true. We have regular forums with our students on this campus every semester, and you're welcome to join those forums and talk to your sons and daughters who are students on this campus about those forums and the agenda and the content of those forums. It's about campus safety and other aspects of activities that are important for our students to know. There's also suggestion that there is a desire to cover up information. That's the least of the concerns of our university. Sometimes I believe we share far too much information too often that it becomes so pertinent, relevant information that we believe that students should be hearing on a regular basis. If we share it too often, it begins to be ignored. So we have to balance how we share information, through what vehicle and mechanism we share that information on a regular basis as well. So I want to stop there. Chief Chair and I are absolutely going to answer the questions that are being raised, that have been stood up in the Q&A. Mr. Todd Simmons, our Associate Vice Chancellor of University Relations, will assist us in managing the questions. And again, we will seek to respond to those as appropriate through our Q&A session with you at this moment. And I'm hoping that I'm answering most of the concerns and questions that most parents and our faculty and staff and our students may have. We are focused on ensuring that we all have a safe environment to work and engage and play and socialize in an effective way at this university. So Todd, I'm going to turn it over to you, and Chief Cherry and I will make ourselves available for appropriate questions. Thank you.
Chancellor, thank you very much. And we want to thank everybody who's watching this on Zoom as well as on YouTube for all of your great questions that are coming in. We've got pages and pages of them. We won't be able to get to all of them, but we will answer as many of them as we can. The first questions have to do with the area where the shooting took place last night, just off campus, off Sullivan Street, in an area that people often refer to as the Cottages, the white one-story structures that are just adjacent to campus there. And I'll ask for some of our cabinet members to help weigh in here to support Chancellor and Chief Cherry in providing answers to these. There are several questions that just have to do with the general environment of safety around the cottages. Questions like, can we ensure that only students are living in off-campus housing intended for A&T students? Noting that break-ins in homes and cars have been reported in that area, as well as some of the more tragic incidents that have taken place there, and asking whether we can increase security at the cottages. I'll turn first to Robert Pompey, our Vice Chancellor for Business and Finance, and Melody Pierce, our Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs, for an answer to that. I'm turning it over to the both of you there.
Good afternoon, and thank you for the question, and we'll allow Chief Cherry to speak about the safety component. First of all, we do not own the cottages, those apartments. Those apartments are owned by a separate company. We have been very aggressive at our university in apartment acquisitions over the last 5 years. We've purchased almost 7 apartments in the past 5 years and invested almost $200 million in these acquisitions, in part to provide housing opportunities for as many of our students as we can. We currently house about 52% of our full-time students. The national average is 40%. We have as many beds and more beds than other universities in our system that are twice our size. And it's all aimed at housing as many students as we can, and to not only provide the housing opportunities, but to also allow us to provide safety opportunities, because we can have a more active police presence in those areas. We continue to look for acquisition opportunities, especially where it's advantageous to our university, and we will definitely evaluate the cottages as a potential opportunity.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Pompey, and thank you, Chancellor, for your synopsis of the events as of late. Hello, everyone. My name is Jermaine Cherry. I serve as Chief of Police here at North Carolina A&T State University. And so I want to speak a little bit about the safety aspect of the cottages. I want you to know that the cottages are privately owned, and so therefore it's not the property of the university. However, we do realize that many of our students stay in that area. It's not only student housing, but they also rent to local Greensboro residents as well. So having this knowledge, what we've been doing is we've been in communications with the cottages management, talking with them about their security procedures, their security procedures, whether or not do they have security on site, whether or not do they have cameras on site. And so we've been speaking with them about their footprint in the area. What we have also done is spoken with the Greensboro Police Department as well, because basically it is their jurisdiction, right? And so, they are the police force within the city. And so we've been working with the Greensboro Police Department to put together a plan to assist Cottages management in enhancing their security presence at that location. And so we're doing everything that we can as a university police department, even though, that is not our area and we don't have jurisdiction there. And so we've also taken it upon ourselves to try to enhance our presence by virtue of us having property very near. I have instructed my officers and security to also keep an eye on that area as well. But what we can do is limited by virtue of that not being our property. Nevertheless, we're working with our partners. We've also brought in the Sheriff's Department, who is also assisting and have agreed to step up patrols in that area as well. And so even though this is not our property, we are going out on a limb to do everything we can as a university police department and as a university as a whole to try to help them address the security deficiencies in that area, because we do realize that we have precious commodity over there, and that precious commodity are our students.
So
Thank
Todd,
you,
let me
Chief.
add a little bit more
Sure.
to both Ms. Pompey and Chief Cherry's comments. There are two issues here. One is that is private property, but as Chief Cherry has suggested, he has amped up his patrol over that private property because a portion of the residents there are our students. Again, while we can't force the administrators of those properties to amp up their security, while we can encourage them to do so, if they elect not to do so by adding cameras or additional security personnel, we can encourage our students to live elsewhere. But our students continue to live in that space as well. And so what Chief Cherry is doing is increasing his security, not only around that space, but further and further away from our university, out into the community to push crime increasingly further away from our university. And so that's adding additional burden. And so we'll continue to add additional security personnel to his staff. The other is Mr. Pompey is working even more now to have discussions about whether we should seek to purchase those properties. Now, keep in mind, those properties in our minds are not up to our standards for properties we would want to own and make a part of our housing properties. So we may have to continue to push toward purchasing those, but we've given priority to all the other apartments around our university, and we now own most of those properties with an investment of about $200 million to make additional housing available to our campus. If we were to purchase the cottage, our most significant assessment is the most likely we would demolish those facilities and rebuild something else more substantial in their space because they do not, again, meet the expectations of properties that we would want to own to provide housing for our students. I just want to share that with our students and their families and our campus community as well.
Thank you, Chancellor. And that actually addressed some of the other questions in there. I think we've covered the waterfront on the cottages and all of the current relevant information on that. Let's move on to campus housing in general. We had several questions with regard to that. One person asked, would it be possible, what is A&T doing to expand housing for all students? Is the goal to build more housing on campus? Mr. Pompey, we'll come back to you for that one.
Sure, thanks, Todd. We continue to look at opportunities for acquisitions. We currently have 6,000 beds that we own when you look at our traditional residence halls and our apartment complexes. That's increased by 2,000 beds over the last 5 years. We are also in the planning stages of constructing a new residence hall that we expect to begin construction on this summer, with the overall goal of it taking about 18 to 24 months to add additional housing. That would be 400 more beds that we will add. So we understand that there is a demand for housing. We have been very aggressive in acquisition, and we will continue to be very aggressive in acquisition and also in the building of new residence halls.
I want to point out as well that our Office of Housing and Residence Life is holding housing fairs where students can come and have a look at some of the housing that we endorse, that we think is appropriate for our students to live in. And we can help the students and parents review those housing options and in fact sign a lease on the spot for this fall if they choose to do that.
So let me just make two
Yes, sir.
additional points here, Todd, for clarity, because we continue to have this conversation about the need for additional housing. First, our housing capacity has grown almost twice as fast as our enrollment growth. So people keep suggesting, well, stop growing because you don't have housing, as an example, to accommodate the students. That's just simply not true. We have grown our housing stock rapidly, and we've made substantial investment of approximately $200 million to acquire these properties to make beds available to our students. And our housing growth has grown faster than most any other university in the UNC system. The other driving strategy for us has been that, unfortunately, 15 years ago or so, large numbers of developers came into East Greensboro and built a ton of student housing, not private apartment complexes for the general public, but lots of student housing, expecting to make a profit on the backs of our students renting their properties. These properties were all built with different standards of quality, built different standards of technology available in them and the like. And they were all built with different levels of security technology built into keeping them all safe for our students. They were all with different managers and management groups and different lease contracts and arrangements for our students. So before we began to build additional beds on the campus proper, since many of our students wanted to be able to live in apartment style housing in close proximity to the university, we made a decision to repurpose our foundation to create a real estate foundation. And we decided to purchase all of these apartments around the university, student housing. We've sought to bring them all up to the same standards, create the same lease arrangements, and make them easier for access under the same lease agreement, and permitting our students to be able to use their financial aid to be able to utilize that housing where they were not able to do so before. Now that we have acquired most of those properties and made big investments to raise them to the same level of quality, safety, and technology availability, we're now looking to begin to build additional housing on the campus with the new 450-bed residence hall as well. We've been able to do this without charging additional fees, as many universities have done over the years to build residence housing for their students, this has not cost our students additional cost for that $200 million investment. We've been able to do that in a very significant way. So I don't want families and students and our campus community to misunderstand the very important strategy we've employed to bring additional housing to our campus community to meet the needs of our students and the interests of our students in living more in campus housing as opposed to living in housing out in the community.
Thank you, Chancellor. Let's move on to some additional security questions that I think are best answered by Chief Cherry. The first of these asks how we can better monitor the entire campus, and that's recognized as very important by that poster. Before I toss it to Chief Cherry, everyone should know on this call that we have significant surveillance capability across our campus. In fact, we're one of the leaders in the UNC system for their surveillance capabilities. Chief, can you speak a little bit more into our ability to monitor the entire campus for safety? Sorry, you're muted there, Chief.
Yes, I can. And so let me start off by saying that it is always the desire for the police to be everywhere a lot of times at all times. And so that is simply unrealistic for us. That's unrealistic for any agency to have enough police officers to be everywhere at all times. But what we can do is be strategic in how we monitor and move about our jurisdiction, in that case, it being the campus. And so what we have done as of late is we've made significant investments in technology that would allow us to enhance our footprint within the university community. You know, we have camera surveillance throughout the entire university. We have the presence of blue light phones, emergency phones that is situated throughout the university as well, that if a person needs assistance, they can contact us in an emergency by pressing that phone, and it dials directly into the police department dispatch, letting us know what is going on in exactly the exact location. We've also invested in safety apps, Safe Zone app, which put that blue light phone in the palm of your hand. And so if students were to download that new technology, they would have the ability to contact us immediately. They would have the ability to send us anonymous text messages and those types of things. We've invested in our new drone technology as well. So now we have the capability of putting our drone in the sky and doing damage assessments, surveilling the campus, to help us to increase our footprint. Those are just a few of the things that we have done from a technology standpoint that would give us the most ability to monitor this entire campus efficiently. We're after efficiency at this point. And so, yes, we've made great strides. We've added to the technology that we already had in place. Many of these things we're the first in the UNC system to acquire, and we're very, very happy for it.
Thank you, Chief. And a couple more here too. Specific to our officers of public safety, one of the questioners asked, why aren't our security officers armed? Okay.
And so according to North Carolina law, security guards cannot be armed on university property. Okay, so they've gone away from armed security on university property, and it has been replaced with actual sworn law enforcement officers. And so every institution within the UNC system, us no different, we have a sworn police force that works in conjunction and in unison with our unarmed security officers. All right, so we have security officers stationed in the residence halls. We have security officers walking the campus conducting foot patrols. In many of our academic and office buildings, we have security guards that are stationed there, and they do regular checks. And these security officers have been outfitted in uniforms with radios where they can contact us immediately to be able to inform us of what's happening in their area and those things. We all work together to make sure the campus is safe. And of course, we also have police officers that are sworn by the state of North Carolina the same type of training that every other law enforcement agency in the state of North Carolina has to acquire, the same type of in-service training. We have full arrest authority, full arrest powers. And so we all work together along with the campus community, because even though we have all of these resources, we still need the public. Even though we have all of the eyes within the community to help us make sure the community is safe, we still need your help. Okay, so that's why the chancellor said earlier that if you see something, say something. If you find yourself in an unsafe situation, we would ask that you first remove yourself from that situation and report it to the nearest authorities immediately. We would ask that you would download the safety apps and things that we have in the form of technology so that you can get a hold of us quickly and, if necessary, anonymously. And so all of these tools, the technology, the personnel strength in police, the strength of our security, the strength of our student body, faculty and staff, all of us working together, we can realize safety on this campus, but we got to work together. And so I would encourage everyone, let's lock arms and continue to work together to make sure that our campus is safe.
Great sentiments, Chief. There's a question here that's come up several times in the chat, and I want to give several members of our leadership an opportunity to answer it. And it's this: is AMT considering closing our open campus and creating security checkpoints where visitors to campus must check in before they enter campus?
Let me begin, and then I'll turn to Ms. Pompey, get perspective from him as well. All of our UNC universities, as public universities, are open campuses and are not surrounded by fences or walls as many small private institutions are. What we have sought to do here is, at certain times of the evening, we have moved that campus from all of the access points with vehicular access points. We have placed gates. We close gates in areas that are away from residence halls and strategic entry points and exit points for the campus, and have patrol around those entry points and exit points in the evenings after a certain hour at night into the early hours of the morning, so that we have better control over traffic access to the university. And so it is typically unrealistic to put a large fence around an institution, public university of our size, quite candidly. Even putting a fence around the institution does not keep out bad elements, quite honestly. And then you have to have patrol who are constantly monitoring the walls as well. Of course, you can do that with electronic technology as well. And so, but in general, large public universities have not created opportunities, because we really are conducting business here on a regular basis. Our graduate students and many of our faculty are involved in their research throughout the night in our research labs, in our library, in academic classroom buildings. And so it's very difficult to just restrict egress and access to the institution.
Thanks, Chancellor. Anybody else want to respond to the open campus question? If not, we can move on to others here.
If I can just add a little bit to that.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And so with North Carolina A&T State being a state institution, that by virtue makes this an open campus and available to taxpayers who pay taxes within the state of North Carolina. And so by virtue of that, this is a state institution, therefore it is an open campus. Now, in order to frequent this campus, there is an expectation that individuals who come conduct themselves accordingly within our community. And if they do not conduct themselves accordingly, we have mechanisms in place to mitigate that. One of those mechanisms are our banning system. And so if we're dealing with individuals who are not university affiliated, but they are frequenting our campus, again, they have the right to do so because this is a state institution. But if they violate any laws of the state of North Carolina, if they violate any university policy and those types of things, we can take action as an institution and as a law enforcement agency to make sure that we act in the best interest of the state of North Carolina as well as this institution. And sometimes that action leads to us banning individuals, rightfully so, from the university. And if they were to return while the ban is still in effect, we can take enforcement action and effect an arrest for trespassing on university property. And so we welcome everyone to come, so long as they come with good intentions. We welcome everyone to come, so long as they come to contribute mightily to the spirit of this university. But if they come with bad intentions, that's why we're here working together to make sure that we keep out those who wish to do us harm. And we stand ready as an institution and as a law enforcement agency to protect the interests and to protect our campus community from anyone to do us harm. We stand ready.
If we've had several members in the Q&A who would like you to repeat the specific names of the safety apps mentioned earlier, can you please repeat those for us?
Chief?
Yes. Go ahead. I'll let the Chancellor.
No, Chief, go ahead. That'd be great.
Okay. So one of the apps we have is called our Safe Zone app. So you can just go to your Play Store, whether it's the Google Play Store or whether it's, if you have an iPhone, just go to the store and you can download that app for free. It's called Safe Zone. And so once you download it, it's going to ask you just a few questions, and you can select the one for North Carolina A&T State University, and you will have that app on your phone. Now, with that app, once again, you will be able to have safety literally in the palm of your hands. You'll be able to contact the police department anonymously. You'll be able to contact the police department for assistance. It even has a mental health portion on that app. So you can press the mental health function of that app and get assistance from the counseling center and all of those things. And so we're very, very proud of that app. The other app was the Aggie Alert, that the Chancellor talked about earlier. And you can certainly subscribe to that by going to the university website and subscribing in that fashion as well. So it's the Safe Zone app and it's the Aggie Alert app. You can subscribe to all of those. That goes for parents as well as students.
Great, thank you, Chief. We have a couple of logistics questions that I'll open to our Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs, as well as perhaps our Vice Chancellor for Business and Finance. One of the questioners asks, do we have emergency warning phones for our off-campus housing, the blue phones that we see on campus around other housing, specifically in the university grounds?
No, the blue phones are just on the campus property and not in off-campus areas. No.
Thank you. And then secondly, a questioner asks whether it's possible to put card swipe access on all entry and exit points to residences, as well as academic buildings. Mr. Pompey?
Oh, I can speak to residence halls.
Please do.
Our historical halls and our suites, they have card access and have for quite some time. All students are to use their Aggie One card and swipe into the building only if that's the building they live in. And they have the Aggie card is their ID on the campus, and they're to carry it with them, at all times.
So the Aggie One card is already in effect for the residences.
Yes, for years, yes.
Provost, do I see you wanting to weigh in on academic buildings and swipe access?
Oh, I thought Robert was, but I can. We have
Okay.
we have swipe access for several of our academic buildings that contain research laboratories and classrooms. So I will say that.
Yeah, and we,
Adding, Robert.
yes, we do monitor after hours activity in all of our academic buildings and all of our administrative buildings. For those that are a little bit more traditional and don't have the electronic access, we are looking to upgrade those, but it's fewer of those than what we have in place. As it relates to the question about the blue phones or on the apartments, et cetera, I think it's important the Safe Zone app, if you have that plays the same role, if not a better role than the blue phone. You're able to access our police department from wherever you are. You don't have to walk to a phone or anything of that nature. So I do encourage us to really make sure that we download that app and use it.
Thanks, Mr. Pompey. There's a question here that I'll respond to. Chancellor addressed it earlier, but we can address it once more here. The questioner asked whether the social media post on March 30th denying that there was an active shooter on campus, was that a separate incident, or was it really denying the man arrested with weapons a few days earlier? People think you denied the actual arrest. Those are actually two separate instances, as Chancellor spoke to earlier. I'm aware of the news outlet that you're referencing in this. We've let them know that their story is incorrect and given them substantiation to prove that. They still have that inaccurate account on their website. So anyone who has seen that story on News One, it's riddled with a lot of factual errors, including this one. These were two separate incidents, and there was no denial or effort to hide anything in either one of these instances. Speaking of that, we have several questions here that relate to the incident on Saturday of the gentleman who was arrested with so many weapons near the A&T campus. And I think I can boil them down into a couple of different areas here. Chief, we'll let you respond first to these. A questioner wants to know what security measures have been taken in this matter, especially since the suspect has now been released. Is he being monitored by law enforcement around the clock?
Well, just as the Chancellor indicated earlier when he was speaking, for some time now, the University Police Department has been on heightened alert. It started with the various bomb threats to HBCUs around the country, some of the political unrest around the country. And so for some time, we've been on heightened alert. That incident where this young man, Mr. Bentley, came to campus, he had some ill intentions towards law enforcement, and he expressed those. Once we learned of his presence, we took decisive action and brought him into custody. Just as the Chancellor explained, after bringing him into custody, that's when we searched his vehicle and came across all of the weaponry that he was in possession of. And so he was already in our custody. We seized all of his weapons and we took appropriate action and we charged him accordingly. The Chancellor is certainly correct in saying that he has been released from jail. And what we have done since then is we have taken his information and we've placed it within our security footprint, our security database, so that if he were to frequent this campus at any moment, we will immediately be alerted to his presence on campus. He has been issued a ban, so he's banned from all university property, not only North Carolina A&T State University, he has also been banned from other institutions of higher learning in the area. We have also alerted all of our law enforcement partners as well. And so he knows very well that his presence on any educational institution is not warranted and will ultimately result in him being arrested. But this situation is no different from all of the security practices that we have in place. We consistently develop operational plans for special events, for large-scale events on the university campus. And by and large, all of the large-scale events on campus have been safe. They have been safe because of the security plans that we have, the security footprint that we have deployed on a daily basis, on an annual basis. And so we work together as a team, as an institution, and many times as universities coming together, all of the police departments, to make sure that we are all on the lookout. We information share continuously with one another. I know what's happening at other institutions. They know what's happening at our institution. because oftentimes things have the tendency to gravitate from one institution to the next. So we meet monthly and share information with one another, and we develop strategies individually and collectively to make sure that we're all on the same page in dealing with the threats of today. And so I would say again, and finally, I'm going to close with this, North Carolina A&T State University is absolutely safe. I think the decisive action that we took as an institution and as a police department on Mr. Bentley, it is indicative, and it showed that what we have in place worked. Think about that. It actually worked. And so as we continue to work together as a community, it takes all of us to work together to make sure that safety is realized here. And as long as we work together, we can stand against whoever or whatever that poses any type of threat to our community.
Chief, while we have you, one more on that circumstance. A parent asks, are you sure there are no more of his friends or people helping him around campus? As, for instance, have his social media accounts been checked to make sure that that we're monitoring and that we're aware of everything that is going on with him?
That's a very good question. I want you to know that Mr. Bentley is certainly on our radar. We have conducted a wraparound assessment of Mr. Bentley, and at this point, he has been found to not be a credible threat to us. He knows that we are aware of him, his activity, his latest post, and the like. We have no reason to believe that he is in concert or working with anyone else based on our intelligence as a collective unit. Once again, the FBI, Isaac, ATF, the Greensboro Police Department, the Sheriff's Office, and us as well. We're all working together to make sure that every base is covered, and we're confident that at this point, we don't have any intelligence that would lead us to believe that he has the ability to do us harm or any other at this time.
Chief, one last one on this circumstance, and I think this is sort of a summary of what a number of people have posted here. And it's this, specifically coming from parents: how do we know our kids are not being targeted when the opportunity presents itself? And this particular poster is aware of HBCUs across the country receiving threats, such as the bomb threats that made such big headlines last year. Chief?
How do we know that our kids are not being targeted? Quite frankly, we don't know everything at all times. All right. We are not going to sell you a bill of goods. As we move about our lives, there's always the possibility of something happening. The only thing that we say, we want you to take precautionary measures. What are those precautionary measures? We want you to be aware of your surroundings at all times. We want you to understand and have the wherewithal to know if you are in an unsafe environment. And if you find yourself in an unsafe environment, remove yourself and report it to the authorities immediately. We want you to utilize all of the safety technology and mechanism that the university has established for your safety. We want you to avail yourself of that technology so that if you find yourself in a sticky situation, to let us know. But I want you to know that there are no guarantees. There are no guarantees, even back home around this country, in your local cities, in your local states, in your local neighborhoods. The same precautionary measures that you have taught your child, your student to take. We want you to continue to reinforce that with them as they come here to tell them to take that same approach. The same approach that has kept them safe all around this country. We want them to take that same approach here because this is their home away from home. And so I would say for them to continue to be aware, continue to be vigilant, continue to utilize the technology and the platform that we have in place. Continue to talk to one another, continue to share information. And by God, we are here as a law enforcement agency to help. We're in this together, and we know that our students is our most cherished resource. We know they are your most cherished resource, and we endeavor as an agency to do all we can to make sure that they're safe. The only thing we ask is that they do all they can to take safety in their own hands as well, and work with us as we facilitate safety on our campus.
Thank you, Chief. We're going to give you a break for a little while here and move on to some other members of our leadership here on some questions regarding mental health, really connected to last night's death. One of the parents asks, has the university considered ending this semester early or virtually to alleviate student anxiety and stress for their mental health and wellness issues, maybe allowing them to come back to clean out their dorm rooms on May 13th instead of before they leave for the fall term, and giving the rest of the university an uninterrupted time to spend on strategic planning for the fall. Why don't we start with Provost Smith-Jackson for that one?
Okay, thank you, Todd, and thank you for that question. Certainly, we have been considering many options. One thing I do want to make clear, however, stepping down and going virtual for the rest of the semester is not one of the options that we can take. We had an emergency option that we could take during COVID, as you may remember, which allowed all universities in the UNC system in March of 2020 to go completely virtual. We don't have that same type of leeway to operate right now. The other aspect of this is that we have provided, and that was shown in our announcements last night, we provided certainly a level of flexibility for faculty in terms of how they're going to run their classes, and also students as well in terms of being able to attend class. We had students this morning who wanted to come to class because they wanted to talk about issues. But then we had some students who coped in a different way and chose not to come to class. So we have asked our faculty to make sure that they are flexible, certainly this week. And then we do have a holiday on Friday. And then we have 2 wellness days on Monday and Tuesday. We believe these are opportunities to allow students to decompress, although on Monday and Tuesday, we will have some events for students if they wish to come and do wellness activities, but it's a time for them to decompress. The other aspect of this is that other campuses have recognized after, this is particularly referencing mass shootings, but they have recognized that it is not always a good idea to just shut down after one of those events, because it can escalate avoidance behavior when you're trying to get students to re-enter and start again. So we think that we have provided the best option that we can, which is to provide flexibility and allow those students who wish not to come for a few days, to take that option. They have counseling services. Everybody has that type of support. And then when we do come back for Wednesday, April 12th, for our classes, if students are still having some difficulty or discomfort, then on a one-on-one basis or case-by-case basis, they can get the help that they need. But we will continue as of April 12th.
Provost, for those students who need accommodations, would you suggest that they be in contact with their faculty member directly?
Oh, absolutely. And just let their faculty member, their professor know that they have to step back a bit, and they can work together on whatever arrangements need to be made so that the student is still able to keep up with whatever needs to be kept up with in that course. I wanted to add one more thing. By the way, we're talking about apps, and I'm sorry to add one more app, but we do have what's called NCAT Connect, and NCAT Connect provides you with emergency and non-emergency phone numbers for campus. Also, it provides you with wellness information so that you know what wellness activities are happening. Housing and Residence Life is on NCAT Connect, and a host of other things, counseling services, etc. If you get NCAT Connect, you get everything from emergency, which would, safe zone, access there, all the way to just day-to-day activities and events happening on campus. So again, Aggie Alert, Safe Zone, NCAT Connect.
Thank you, and we'll stick with you and Dr. Pierce for these next questions. And I just want to set these up for you. We've had several parents reach out in the Q&A as well as on phone over the past 24 hours because their students were at the event yesterday and were close by when those shootings took place. I just want to say on behalf of the university, our thoughts go out to all of you who are in that situation. Horribly unfortunate. And as a parent myself, I can't imagine what you're going through right now. One of the parents asked whether there's support available for students who witness these events, and what is being done about the social and emotional state of students who were there yesterday or heard the gunshots while walking to nearby events. Are there counselors available today, and et cetera?
Yes, to our counseling center, we offer services 24/7 to all of our students, any period. And we've encouraged our students to today, this week, next week, when they return, to seek out the appropriate services to assist them so they can successfully finish this semester. Yes, to our counseling center.
Which is located in Murphy Hall.
Yes.
109. You can also call 336-334-7727. 336-334-7727, or just type counseling services in cat.edu and you will hit the website with all the various options available. Anything from individual counseling to group counseling and all other kinds of engagement.
Yes.
Thank you both for those answers. Let's go back, Chief Cherry, to you for just a moment here. One of our questioners writes in to express support and prayers for the family of Ms. Reeves. I'm sure they appreciate that, sir. And the question here is, what are we doing to increase security at the individual level? What are we encouraging students to do to remain safe? For instance, not traveling alone and moving in a buddy system.
Yes. So some of the things I've already reiterated was just making sure that they are aware of their surroundings, know where you are at all times, make sure someone knows where you're going if you're going somewhere by yourself. We also talked about implementing or taking advantage of the security technology that we have in play here at the university. That includes Safe Zone, and that also includes subscribing to the Aggie Alert as well. The Aggie Alert as well. So those two types of technology will basically put safety in the palm of your hand, Safe Zone, and Aggie Alert will also put in your hand the capability of knowing what's happening on the campus if we have to send out an emergency notification and those types of things. Just let's work together as a community to make sure that we stay safe. That's the key. So those are just some of the things that they can do. They can also partner with us here at the police department. We host safety forums. We host conversations within the student center. A lot of times we take these types of programming to the community. We're out there with the community because we are of the community. And so we offer that you partner with us through our internship program. We're working with interns, which are other students who assist us in reaching out to their peers and those types of things on a semester basis and those types of things. So we're doing a lot, and we encourage you to partner with us, come lock arms with us so that we can make sure that we're all safe together.
Chief, we have another questioner who asks, why wasn't the campus put on immediate lockdown after this situation took place last night? I would remind everybody that we did send out an Aggie alert last night, directing people to stay clear of the area where this incident had happened. The all clear on that warning was not issued until 5 a.m. today. So while we weren't on lockdown, because we can't do that at A&T, we did have that precaution in place. Chief, anything else you want to add?
Plus, on top of that, and that's a very good synopsis, Todd, but on top of that, the intelligence on the ground at the moment suggests to us that potential suspects were not headed towards campus. They were headed away from campus. And so we had forces on the scene within minutes, GPD, the Greensboro Police Department, as well as A&T Police. We were there on scene within minutes. So we didn't see the need to tried to lock down the campus, but we did make the campus aware of what was happening and to take precautionary measures. So again, the intelligence that we got, those who were possibly involved, and we have several leads that the Greensboro Police Department is shaking out, and we are providing them assistance because we are secondary in this investigation, but none of the activity headed towards campus, but away from campus. Yes.
Todd, thanks, Chief.
Yes, please.
Great answer. And Todd, let me make a correction on your one comment you made. As part of our emergency management strategy for the institution, we have capacity to lock down. And so if we have a shooter on campus, our plans call for a really significant and efficient way to lock segments of the campus down based on where we find a potential shooter on this campus as well. And that's all baked into response engagement by Chief Cherry and his team, with our response team, with the emergency management and the community, Greensboro Police Department and Sheriff's Department as well. And so we do have indeed the capacity to lock the campus down as appropriate.
Thank you for that correction, Chancellor. We have one questioner who writes in to say, good afternoon. Thank you for having this conversation today. You're welcome. We're glad to be able to host this. The questioner asks a question about the overall security of campus. Would it be possible, at least for the remainder of this semester, to enforce that all individuals who wish to be on campus after dark show proof of affiliation with A&T, such as showing a current Aggie ID at all entry points of campus?
So after hours, when the campus is pretty much closed down, we do establish several checkpoints. So I know we have one checkpoint, which is located at Mitchell Drive, where anyone who comes to campus and wants to frequent that area, we have security present there. We also have security, foot patrol. We also have security within the residence halls and the like. And so this campus is vast, multiple ways of getting into the campus. But I'll tell you this, whenever we come across individuals at any time, daytime, nighttime, overnight, and those persons are displaying behaviors that are concerning to us, we challenge them. What do we mean by that? We ask them who you are, what's your business here, and can I see your ID? According to university policy, if that person is a student, they have to show us their ID, you see? And so by that, we can very quickly differentiate between students and non-students. And so we take every situation one step at a time as we encounter individuals that move about the campus. And another thing I want to call to your attention, many times our students have over friends. They bring friends with them to the campus and they frequent the campus that way. And so we just have to be very strategic with how we do that, because we don't want to infringe on the friends of the students who are bringing to the campus as well. But we would also caution our students to make sure that if they're going to bring friends to the campus, they're going to bring visitors to the campus, to make sure they know who they're bringing to campus. Make sure they know who they're bringing. Make sure the person that they're bringing have good intentions within the campus community as well, because we've had some challenges where individuals gain access to the campus on the whim of an actual university student, and that person didn't have good intentions. And so we had to address that challenge. And so there are many things that we're doing. No one size fits all. Anything that we feel will work, we'll work on that. But it takes us all, students, it takes faculty, staff, and the police working together. Again, I know you notice that's a common thing, because I want you to know, I don't want to give you a false sense of security. It takes all of us to do this. Absolutely.
Great. You know, we have so many more questions than we can get to, so I'm just going to read a few of the comments here, and anyone who is on part of our panel on the Zoom, please feel free to jump in. The first questioner says, the campus should not be open to the public at all hours. How can you put measures in place to keep non-students from entering the school, perhaps between the hours of 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., no outside visitors rule might be a good idea. Another commenter says, although we're a public campus, in the student center, we should prevent locals from just wandering around. Can there be a way that only students can just swipe into the student center? I feel unsafe having grown men who are clearly locals and not college students being able to walk into our safe space. Any responses to any of those, Chancellor, or anyone else in the call? All right, here. Having answered a great many of these, and the hour is now 4:30, we've reached the end of our program here. I want to thank all 2,500 people who were either on the Zoom today or watching us on YouTube. We appreciate your interest in the safety of the university and in the safety of our students, faculty, and staff. We appreciate your time today. All of your great questions will be shared in total with leadership for a better understanding of exactly where the minds are of our most important constituents right now. Chancellor, I'll hand it back over to you to conclude.
Thanks very much, Todd. And I certainly want to thank all of my colleagues for their presence today, as well as the great responses they've provided. Todd, thank you for facilitating the Q&A for us as well. There are lots of great questions and a great turnout for this forum on safety for our university. And I want to thank all of you, parents, students, faculty, staff, community members, alumni who've joined us today as well. I want to leave you with a couple of key points. One, we really are a safe campus. This is from the evidence of those engaged in this discussion. We pay particular attention to the details of ensuring that we're maintaining a safe campus for all of us, for our students, for our faculty and our staff, for visitors to our campus as well. And we have invested in the resources, the personnel to support the University Police Department and additional technologies. We've invested in really robust relationships with the Greensboro Police Department, the Sheriff's Department, as well as the FBI and the SBI, who really are in emergency management systems around this community and around the state as well. We also are deploying best practices in ensuring and maintaining campus safety for the institution. We have great controls over the internal workings 24/7 within the periphery of our university. We are managing those aspects of campus safety exceedingly well. As Chief Cherry has suggested, of course, when individuals step beyond the boundaries of the periphery of our campus and the periphery of our housing out in the community, it's much more difficult for us to protect our students or others of our community who work at the institution and leave the boundaries of our campus. And so we have to ensure that we are continuing to educate our students on best strategy. Travel in pairs, make sure that you are managing yourself in safe circumstances and the like, and ways in which they may gain access to security if they need security immediately and the like. Parents, you can join us in helping to ensure that you are enabling your sons and daughters while they're present on the campus to continue to also exercise good judgment when they leave the campus as well, who they're with, where they're going, and how they're engaging out in the community as well, as we continue to remind them on a regular basis as well. This is critically important. The challenge for us is balancing security in such a way that we are accommodating the wishes of parents and those of us as adults to ensure that we are maintaining a safe environment for our students on one hand, where we're providing some reasonable level of flexibility that allows our students to have their self-identity and engage in a healthy educational and social environment as well within the campus community. And there's a balance in ensuring that we're able to do that in a healthy and safe way. I also encourage you, not only as students, but also faculty, staff, and visitors to our campus, and family members. Parents, see something, say something. Utilize the technology we've made available to ensure that we're helping to keep this campus safe so that we are indeed protecting all of us as we move about this institution and safely in and around the communities of our university as well. I can't thank you enough for your presence today. This is important for us. We encourage you to stay out of the rumor mills. If you find that something doesn't sound right, seek answers to your questions. We really are accessible and available to you. We don't hang up the phones. We don't turn off phones. We don't get voice messages where we don't respond. We are focusing intentionally more on this campus around what we characterize as the Aggie experience. And that's key to ensuring that we are responsive to you as parents, but in particular to our students on this campus, as well as our faculty and our staff as well. Chief Cherry said it well. Together, we will continue to make this campus safer as we look to the future as well. There are resources available to our students for counseling services and support services. They are an excellent staff of professionals that are available in face-to-face sessions as well as virtual sessions. We similarly provide counseling services through our human resources area, represented by Dr. Veronica Seals here on the Zoom meeting with us as well. Those services are available 24/7 as well for faculty and staff. We also encourage us all to take full advantage of the wellness days that are available to us so that we may take the downtime we need to rest and regroup and the like so that we are charged appropriately to finish this semester in a very robust and successful way. My last comments are related to the Reeves family as they and we celebrate the loss of Deja Ray Reeves, really a truly exceptional young woman on this campus as a student. So let's all of us keep this family in our true thoughts and prayers and reach out as appropriate to share our condolences with the Reeves family. Again, thank you very much.